Jeff D. Lowe, Brandon Walker, Barstool Sports. All right, here we go. All right, we are joined. We'll joint Project Big Three, mostly sports interview with. Look at this. They're back.
Yeah.
Scrubs is back.
Back
Revival.
together.
We have.
Back at it. Zach is sweating bullets right now. He's like, this is sports?
No, I can handle any sports questions as long as they're about the mid-'80s Nets.
All right, let's talk Drazen Petrovic.
Jaminski, Otis Birdsong.
Yes. Buck Williams?
Darryl Dawkins.
Now we're doing some
No,
things.
that's a little earlier.
Oh, it's earlier?
Darryl Dawkins is earlier than Petrovic.
My father used to make me go to the Nets games, and I was more interested in the mascot than the game.
What was the mascot?
It was Duncan. This is in Brendan Byrne Arena back in the day.
Oh, that's fantastic. Jeff, are you going to take control of this thing, or are you just going to let me talk about the 1985 Brooklyn Nets?
if you couldn't tell by
they
now.
weren't in Brooklyn.
Jersey.
They were
New
Jersey back then.
Excuse me, my bad.
Okay.
Brandon,
Take control.
you should also have them turn your mic down just a little, Brandon. You are
Hey,
exploding.
Gabby, can you turn my mic down, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Zach Braff.
Yes, sir.
Donald Faison. February 25th, Scrubs is back.
Yep.
Revival. 8
Revived.
p.m. Eastern, ABC, next day on Hulu. So I'm going to just set the table for you. I'm going to probably say like one thing here, then I'm going to shut the hell up because Brandon is as big of a Scrubs fan as anyone's a fan of anything. So I'm going to let him nerd out. But let's start out though, because 16 years, which is crazy to me, that it's been since the show has been on the air. And in that time, so much has changed with TV and streaming, and like everything drops on the same day and people want these big, sweeping, crazy, epic shows. But then somehow in those 16 years, it all changed. But then like the landscape now, as this show comes back, shows are being dropped week to week. And like the number one show in the country is like a medical show. So this is this not like the most perfect time? Because I know this was discussed like a couple years ago, but has this kind of felt to you? Have you like realized like, wow, this is coming out of the most unbelievable time to revive a show when people like medical stuff on TV again and things are kind of back to week now?
And also hard. I mean, if you look at, Bill Lawrence, who created Scrubs, created Ted Lasso. And if you look at what happened with Lasso's explosion, it was, it's a similar vibe to the OG Scrubs. There's comedy, there's a leader, there's mentorship, but there's also a lot of heart. And I think that it showed, especially during COVID, that people really were longing for some shows like that. And here's Bill Lawrence, who knows a lot about sports.
Wow.
What a cameo in the end.
Hey, Bill Lawrence.
So I'll wait till he leaves to say nice things about him. But no, but I mean, I think that was also in the zeitgeist. Obviously, you're right. The Pit is more popular than ever. But I think, I think people were kind of longing for comedy with heart again, like Scrubs was one of the first shows to really introduce that.
So I have a little bit of a statement and then a question, because I was scared going into the Scrubs revival. It's been 16 years. I don't know if it'll feel forced. I don't know if it'll feel awkward. I don't know if it'll be easy for these guys to get back in the groove they were in some years ago. And then I remember last night I was watching it, and I texted Jeff right there 7 minutes in, and I said, they have nailed it. They're right back in it. It felt like Scrubs.
You're bearing the lead. I think your words were, I think he said to me, this is one of the greatest things I've ever experienced.
This is the happiest. That first episode made me feel so damn good, because it's got the sillies that you guys are great at. It's got the heart. I guess I'll throw it to you, Donald. Were you guys nervous that maybe it would feel forced or awkward? You didn't know how it was going to feel when you got back to it, but did it feel like
we knew we wanted to come back and make something that the fans could be like, yo, that's Scrubs. Thank you for coming back, especially after season 9. You know what I mean? We wanted to make sure that the first person to see the first fans to see it could be like to their other friends who maybe didn't watch it. Dude, you got to see it. No, it's Scrubs. It's back. We wanted to make it undeniable for our fans. Yeah. And you saying that is such a great thing to hear.
We did a whole rewatch podcast of the show during COVID, and it was interesting. We learned a lot. We talked to the fans. It was an ongoing discussion basically, and And I think Donald and I learned a lot from rewatching it ourselves and seeing where it kind of derailed, where we were like, wait, what are we doing? Like we had lost the plot a bit, I think, just with how broad the show got. And Bill himself would say that season 9 should have just been called a spin-off. It wasn't really Scrubs, it was a whole new team of writers. So we have all that knowledge and we know what the fans like. And I think we really were like, let's bring this back to the OG beginning.
And in doing so, we tried not to alienate any newcomers that are coming into the fold also, because it's very important that new people watch the show and enjoy these new characters. We're not telling the old stories, we're telling new stories. And so
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to have watched Scrubs to watch this new show. It's a new story.
I mean, funny is funny, right? And the show is undeniably. I like to use the word undeniable because it was.
Brandon has a good life, by the way. Like this being a big moment for him is like a huge deal because he also has he has other exciting things in his life. That's just how big this was for him last night.
Yeah, it was. And I watched it late at night, and I was like, I'll watch it for 10 minutes, and then I'll get to it tomorrow. And I watched both episodes back to back, and it was incredible, and it was awesome. I have a question for you guys as actors, right? Like, Scrubs at its silliest is the silliest of the silly. And at its most serious, it is as good a drama as any show can be at drama. And even in this first episode, I think you touch on both. Is it, I know I watch it over the course of 22, 23 minutes. You guys, I don't know how long it takes you to do a show, but is it difficult as an actor to be the silliest of silly one moment and then you're doing this dramatic scene the next? I don't know how it works for you guys.
Yeah. That's a great question. We shoot them over 5 days. Sometimes you'll read in the script, like, how are we going to make that turn? Like that. We just went from an insane fantasy to having to tell a patient they're dying, and we always managed to figure it out because that's kind of how life can be a lot of times. One minute you're laughing with your friends, and then you get a text that makes your heart skip a beat. And I think that doctors and nurses will tell you that there's a whole lot of humor in a hospital because you have to find comedic relief. You have to make jokes because it's very, very heartbreaking.
I got to ask a question. This is a nerd question. I'm going to ask a better question in a minute, but this is a nerd question that's always bothered me. Zach, you were in the scene, so I'm going to ask you. In the episode My Half Acre, it's the Airband episode for Chris Turk, but in the episode My Half Acre, there's a moment where you're rooming with Elliot Reed and you're talking about, I'm not going to brag about having sex with this girl, and she says, oh, really? Because I got this text that said Bone City or Boom City. I never knew what she said, and me and my friend Bob, through our years of rewatch, when we wanted to let each other know that things were going good in our life, we would text Boom City. We thought it was BOOM City, and one day the closed caption said Bone City, and I was like, wait a minute, is it Bone City?
Yeah, it's Bone City.
That just changed my entire
I got to
life.
tell you something that's kind of funny. Like, back in the day, there was no streaming, right? So one of the things Bill was trying to do, we were on at 9:30 at night. They give you a little more leeway. Bill was really trying to push the envelope for what you could do on network TV. And now that they're streaming, I mean, so we got away with a lot of crazy stuff. I'm sure if you guys have ever heard people trying to share the OG show with their kids and they're like, oh, wait, I forgot. I don't want to watch this with my kids. But now I will say, because they're streaming and because we are ABC 8 o'clock, it is that kind of show where you can watch it with your kids. There'll be some jokes that'll fly over the kids' heads, but we not exactly. It's not as racy as it was, I will say.
It's just still so funny. I wanted to talk about this. So, you guys are back. Sarah Chalk is back. A lot of the old crew is back, and a lot of people are going to be wondering who's going to show up and everything. I thought the new actors and the new characters are fantastic. I thought some of the new doctors and the new nurses and the new everything, everybody that showed up into the show that wasn't the original cast is a spot on match, and I thought they fit in perfectly. Do you guys agree with that?
This is what we wanted. We in the OG version of Scrubs, Bill had a bunch of comedic assassins. That's what he would call them, that he would place into the show that weren't the normal cast members, that were just friends of his or people that he met or people that auditioned and really did a great job. And in this version, we wanted to continue that. We still bring back Phil Lewis as Hooch, and we still bring back Rob Macchio as the Todd, and other people will come back also. But these new cast members, these new assassins that we found, Joel Kim Booster, ex-Mayo, Vanessa Bayer, Michael Scott's
from The Office. What?
Michael, that is Michael Scott. Told you, Michael James Scott. You know what I mean? Michael Scott's from The Office. These guys, they're all very, very, very funny, and they're the new group coming in.
And those interns, we searched all over the country and the world, really technically, because we found Jacob in England. So many talented people read, and really those gangs won the roles.
As creators that you guys are, were you hesitant to do a revival, or was it all in immediately?
I was only hesitant because I wanted to do it right. I didn't want to go do a broad, where we ended so broad and silly and cartoonish. I didn't want to do that. I was interested in the idea of like, how do we bring it back to a realistic version of this? And I also felt like, Donald and I are best friends in real life, and we are pretty silly guys in real life. I didn't want to not have that, but I also wanted to be like, I want us to be great teachers. To me, this is a show about a teaching hospital. That's the core of what it's about, the community of people that are working at a teaching hospital and passing on what they know to a new generation. And I wanted part of that story to be that, yeah, we're goofy and we're silly and we say dumb shit to each other, but we're really, really good teachers. That was important to me.
I know my favorite episodes. I wrote down My Half Acre, My Way Home, My Fallen Idol, all of those. Some hit you with a punch, some are just silly all the way through. And I know this is a lazy question that you've probably gotten asked a billion times, but what are like, Donald, what's your favorite episode of the entire run?
I have a couple of favorite episodes. My musical makes, for some reason, that's one of my, everything comes down to Pooh makes me laugh really hard still.
And Guy Love.
And well, Pooh makes me laugh really hard. I could play that song over and over again. I really like that one. I My Half Acre is a great one. That's the one with the
your
with the
poison
deck. But
where I build a deck because that's all I can afford to.
Right, and he built a deck, and then all of the gay men.
I don't know if the
That was the next episode. That's the next
episode
because the janitor puts up signs that say "old gay like decks" and and it becomes a cruising.
And then you run them off at the end.
Yes, I run them off by telling them that Les Mis is in town.
And Donald, I don't mean to be a downer here, but I've always had one gripe with you from that episode.
What's that?
You danced to "Poison" by Belle Biv DeVoe. It's incredible. It's one of the highlights of my entire life. When it comes to the time where you point to your watch, you're wearing a watch on this hand, and you point to your watch on this hand.
Wow!
Why didn't you point to your watch?
I don't know. That wasn't.
Well, let me tell you the best story about that is that Donald hadn't read the script. He partied all night long.
I came in from the club.
And he comes into the room, the penthouse where we shot that scene, and he's like, why is everybody assembled in here? And everyone's like, because they're all so excited to see the dance you've come up with. And he's like, what now?
I'm like, what am I dancing to? And they said Belle Biv DeVoe's "Poison." And I was like, oh, this should be no problem. I was dancing to that shit last night at the club.
So you walked in, you had that in your bag already.
I was ready for it.
He literally totally improvised that, take one, not knowing he was supposed to have to do that.
So me looking to the watch and everything like that, that's me not even really being there. That's me being like, I better make it through this take or I'm in deep trouble.
Zach, everybody kind of takes part in them, but you do the most flashbacks and fantasies and all that. That's part of your character and everything. Has there ever been one where you're like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that at all. Or you're just all in on all of them.
I'm pretty game for anything as long as it's funny, man. I just go with if does it make me laugh? And if it makes me laugh, I go, let's try it, even if it's bad shit.
We've done things in circumstances where we were like, oh man, I don't know if I should be doing this right now. Like one year, Zach had a hernia and he's doing a bunch of stunts, and so he was doing his own stunts. One year I had pneumonia and I'm in a hot tub with Deadpool and Zach, like it's just, we did a lot for the show.
There was one where Donald was looking to buy a prosthetic testicle because he had his testicle removed.
Sure.
And then we had a fantasy that he went to Walmart and
I bought a testicle that had a heating element.
And then the fantasy continued that we went camping and
ice fishing,
and we lost our fire. So we're all gathered around Donald's heated testicle. And then we come back to the hospital, and Rob Macchio plays the Todd, has a burn mark on his face from being too close to Donald's heated ball.
That's not even
I don't think
realistic.
we're allowed to do that on ABC.
No, we can't do that.
Wait, what is, not to step on Brandon nerding out here, but what is the, like, probably the most inappropriate joke you got through? Do you know what it would
They're
have
just
been that you
sex
got
jokes.
through on
Mostly
TV?
the Todd, the Todd played a guy who was very on PC and inappropriate and was always making sex jokes. Obviously, in this incarnation in 2026, he's been tamed by Vanessa Bayer plays an HR woman who's really brought him to today's standards, but he's still always getting disciplined. But I think they were just like, I mean, there's a lot of sex stuff.
A lot of sex stuff.
I mean, Elliot and I, there's a scene where there's a whole episode where we're having sex all over the place. And I remember when Sarah and I, even back in the day, we're filming this, like, they're gonna put this on the air? Like it felt a little R-rated. But they did.
I know y'all guys did sex jokes, but I still don't know how you got Eat Schmidt and Die past the censors.
Schmidt and
It's a funny
Schmidt and
anecdote
Die.
about stuff we got through was Rob Macchio used to put on his banana hammock, right? We were initially on NBC because it was a Disney show, but ABC passed on it, and then NBC bought it, right? So we were on a Disney show on NBC, and they gave us a little more leeway. And Rob Macchio would be in a full banana hammock, just a tiny little thing with his junk a man thong. And then when we moved to, and then we moved to ABC towards the end of the run, and they would crop all the. They
crop from his.
They would crop him at his belly button.
At his belly button, yeah, and from his belly button.
A show you were on, Zach, I actually has what I think is probably the joke that how it made network TV. Arrested Development. There's a joke where they have a boat called the C Word, and Michael says, "Get rid of the C word," and the Lucille character comes in. And she says, "I'll leave when I'm good and ready." And we asked, it's just unbelievable. I interviewed Ron Howard a couple years ago, and I asked about that. And afterwards, he referenced Scrubs. He goes, there's very few shows that in that era like got through kind of anything, and we don't know how. Scrubs was one, Arrested was one.
I think Bill, yeah, they were on at the same time, and they were both shows that were trying to push the envelope of what you could say on TV. And
I like that Ron Howard watched Scrubs.
I like that Ron Howard watched Scrubs.
Yeah.
And Bill was just, there was no streaming, right? So it was like, how far can we push it?
You guys Scrubs has a very passionate fan base, of which
Yes.
I am one. When you guys started the Fake Doctors, Real Friends podcast, I know that you knew there was a passionate fan base, but did you learn through that process that, wow, it's even more passionate than I thought?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, we got called from iHeart who was running it, being like, these numbers are insane. And we didn't know. We just thought, oh, this will be, we had thought about doing it, and then COVID hit, and we're like, oh, well, now we can at least, have something to do during COVID. It was lockdown. We did it over Zoom. And then we got a call a few weeks in being like, we don't know podcast numbers. And the head of podcast at iHeart was like, you guys, this thing is blowing up all over the world. So that was fun, and it really reinvigorated both of our interest in one day maybe bringing it back. And then these T-Mobile ads have just sort of was another sort of step in the process, and those have been hugely popular. So then stuff got real.
Jeff, I don't know how much time we got. I only have 23 more questions.
2 minutes. Perfect. We just still have 2 more minutes.
A 2-minute warning.
Fire away.
All right, 2-minute warning. Zach, that's in football when there's 2 minutes left in the first half or the final.
Yeah, he doesn't know anything about that.
I know some. I'm tired of this.
You know what the 2-minute warning is?
I know Daryl Dawkins.
So when you guys were coming back, doing the revival and everything, how much was it to you, Zach, important that did you have any input on the John Dorian story? And Donald, did you have any input on what Turk did in the interim? How important to you was it that your character had grown or done whatever?
A lot. I mean, I worked. Yes, the answer is yes. I directed the pilot. I worked with Bill and Seam and Batra and Tim Hobart, who we all collaborated on the pilot. And for me, it was important that JD. There was an important arc for JD, that he had grown and that he was looking for that, that community, like a really solid group of community that was missing from his life, friendship and a buddy, his best friend, all of that was missing from his life. And so I wanted that to be a big part of the story of coming back and realizing that he could make a difference as a teacher, and that the love of the community that he had at his job was missing from his life. It's like, you guys must know at your work, all the friendships you have, all the inside jokes, all the things you look forward to seeing people you love at work. this guy's, he's a concierge doctor. He's got none of that. He works alone, and he's missing all the excitement and the camaraderie that he felt. And I wanted to infuse that into the show.
Best question you got, Brandon. Lay it on. 1 minute.
All right, Donald. You're back in. You're back in wearing the Turk jacket. You're back in doing the whole thing. Just was there a moment filming the pilot or filming the revival pilot? I don't know how you call it. Filming it where you're like, oh wow, we're back. This is happening again. And what did it feel like?
The minute that I got the call that it was going down from my agent, yo, they're gonna do Scrubs. This is real. I was back in. I knew I've been waiting for this for so long. When we started the pilot, I was hoping. Sorry, when we started the podcast, I was hoping that the podcast would jumpstart something, kickstart something, and then T-Mobile happened. I was like, something's gotta happen. This gotta go. And then it happened. And when it happened, I was like, I manifested this. That's how I looked at it. You know what I mean? But I am through the. I mean, I don't know how to use. I'm over the moon. I'm through the roof. However you want to look at it.
Both work.
Yeah, however you want to look at it. I can't believe that we did it. You know what I mean? I can't believe that we're back here and we're telling stories that matter to me and matter to him and matter to our cast members.
This isn't a question. It's a real quick statement. You guys nailed it. Episodes 1 and 2 are fantastic. It feels like Scrubs again. It was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you very much.